Hey everyone, this is Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is September 29th, 2020, and these are the top stories of the day. Now, to start things off, we gotta look at this right here, Nintendo 64. Why? Because 24 years ago today, Nintendo released the Nintendo 64, and I gotta say, happy birthday, buddy. This console is really special to me, as it's celebrating almost its quarter century mark. That'll be next year. I look back and I have a lot of fond memories with this system. You know, I was born in 1983, so I was already gaming for a while on my original TI-94A computer/gaming device, NES, Super NES, at other friends' houses playing Sega Genesis, TurboGrafx-16, Game Boy, going in the Toys R Us or the KB Toy Store and trying out new systems. Prior to N64's release, getting into the 3D era with PlayStation and Sega Saturn, but nothing was quite like Nintendo 64 when it released. I got to play it first shortly after it came out in Japan in June. It was probably the first week of July, close to my birthday in 1996, plus or minus turning 13 by a couple of days. And I got to play the Japanese version of this at a video game import shop, Gameland. And it was so cool because for months I was looking in video game magazines from Electronic Gaming Monthly, Nintendo Power, GamePro, Game Fan, of these images of Nintendo 64 and what it could do, studying the controller, trying to get a grip of what must it feel like, you know, the controller, the design of the console. It was futuristic. The thing looked like a spaceship, you know. There was so much hype around this. Looking at the difference in visual fidelity of what a platform could do from generation to generation, okay? Take a look at Super Mario RPG, a kind of 3D Mario looking game, right, at the time. And then look at Super Mario 64. How fast it moved, how snappy its controls were. Able to backflip on the fly, jump off of walls, wall jump, boom, boom, in succession. All of these things that we saw in commercials, in magazines. It was an amazing experience. A 3D camera that you could move around. That's amazing. Realistic graphics at the time, you know, the best visuals in a game of the day. Polygon implementation. Looking at previews of Star Fox 64 and seeing that these polygon things are real and they can make realistic looking objects. Compare that to, you know, Star Fox, the original Star Fox on Super Nintendo. That difference, Star Fox to Star Fox 64, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. All of these franchises, seeing them on this new platform was just mind-blowing. Taking a look at an early first-person shooter like Doom, playing that on the SNES, and then playing GoldenEye, or before GoldenEye 007, Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. It was truly a shift in the industry, and I'll never forget it. And I think to this date, there's nothing that's been as exciting. Of course, you know, in terms of visuals, everything is continuously improving. Sometimes you have a big game changer like Wii. Wii wasn't this massive evolution in graphics, but it was a big shift in gaming in terms of controls by implementing motion controls. 3DS was pretty cool with its 3D stereoscopic technology that you could see the 3D visuals on a screen without the use of glasses. That was impressive. Touchscreen gaming with DS, you know, having a system that could play DVD movies for an affordable price like the PS2. There's been different moments in gaming that were really cool. You know, playing VR for the first time, good quality VR with something like Oculus Quest, right? Different times we've had some powerful, impacting moments in our lives. It also depends on how old you are, how young you are. If you're in your mid-30s or something like that, like me, I'm 37, this probably in your mind's got to be the biggest step forward in gaming, right? It was magic. Now, I will say that, in terms of visual progression, uh, that jump of N64 to something like Sega Dreamcast slash, GameCube, PS2, Xbox was quite big and significant in terms of visual fidelity and a further realization of what polygons could do, looking pretty advanced at this point, more lifelike. But that was a kind of a comparable leap forward of NES to Sega Genesis and Super NES, right? Went from 8-bit 2D models going from left to right pretty much to better mosaic tile looking, but with greater fidelity, bigger sprite animations, more lines being moved in the background on things like what Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis could do during the 16-bit era. But as far as that shift going forward of what gaming was at to what gaming became, Nintendo 64 was it. So, not necessarily news today. This is kind of a reflection on the past as we, spend 6 minutes of time talking about the Nintendo 64. But just gotta pay respect to one of my favorite systems of all time, with a lot of great games that I think still hold up. And it wasn't just the introduction of the analog stick, which was used forever, and longer prongs that molded into your hands, but we also got 6-button face layout on the controller. It was the evolutionary step ahead of what eventually became dual analogs with that 6-button control layout. It gave us Rumble Pack technology a year later, and despite playing the system, like I said, to rewind a little bit to my earlier story, back in like early July of 1996, I ended up getting the console just after launch in 1996 when it came out here. September 29th in the United States it released. I tried to get it day one, but they were all sold out. I got mine October 7th or October 10th, but right close to launch. So this was the earliest to a launch at this point in my life that I got a video game console. And I just love it. I love the logo. I love the cool colors. These are Nintendo colors to me. Red, blue, yellow, green. This shirt, I've worn this shirt pretty much every single Halloween since 1998 doing my annual video game themed pumpkin carvings. I also have this shirt in black, the black one that I have. That's just a couple years old. But this thing right here is 24 years old as well. So I keep this shirt in pretty good condition because I, want to have it forever. Pass it on to my kids eventually. So, with that out of the way, happy birthday, Nintendo 64. You're freaking awesome. Okay, moving along to normal video game news. We've got some Mortal Kombat rumors to talk about. Some data mining has popped up online and is suggesting that Mileena, Rain, Quan Chi, and Rambo may be coming to Mortal Kombat 11. Now, some reports leave out Quan Chi, some reports include him, but Mileena, Rain, and Rambo looks like they're pretty likely candidates to be added to Mortal Kombat 11. Now, the interesting thing is Rambo, yeah, I mean like Sylvester Stallone Rambo, yeah. We would see Rambo versus Terminator. You'd have, Sylvester versus Arnold, and I think that's pretty cool. Again, it's a rumor for now, but I thought that I would talk about it because it is pretty exciting, and a lot of the things that I've covered on Video Game News with PGN have come true. Some are yet to show their case either way, whether they are true or not. Some things are to be determined. But this one, I have to say, I think I'm leaning towards yes, it happening. When I get an update, when I get something concrete, like if they show off an official trailer, I'll have it here on the channel. We'll talk about it and we'll get excited. Next up in gaming news today, Jump Rope Challenge. What are you waiting for? Tomorrow is the last day that you could download Jump Rope Challenge for free on your Nintendo Switch eShop. Even if you don't plan on using it right away, if you're not in the mood to work out, download it for free. I know so many people that are enjoying the game, that pick it up and play it once a day. Maybe they've dropped it down to a couple times a week or once a week, but everyone who's tried it is having a lot of fun. You could play by yourself, and you could have two Joy-Cons, one in each hand. You could share the experience with a friend, and you hold a Joy-Con, he or she holds a Joy-Con, and experience it together. And it's really fun. You know, Nintendo's developers made it for free, available, put some hours together, and threw it up on the eShop as a little surprise during quarantine, right? Earlier this year. And they said it's free, and then we found out that, okay, for now it is. Eventually it'll become paid for. We don't know how much it'll cost. Maybe it'll be like $3 or something, but download it, play it. If you don't plan on playing it right away because you're not motivated to work out or whatever, download it anyways, and then delete it and save your system space or file, whatever, if you're concerned about, you know, how much your hard drive has left or how much your micro SD XC card has on it. Download it, have it for free, delete it if you wish to save up space. That way, if you ever want to have it in the future, you don't have to pay $3 for it because you already downloaded it once for free. Okay, so that's my PGN quick tip. Get this game. A lot of people have had a lot of fun. You could change your bunny's costumes and put, you know, him or her or it, whatever, in different Nintendo characters, outfits and stuff. It's fun. It's good. It's a good little workout tool. Not quite to the extent of Ring Fit Adventure. Now that's a beast of an exercise, video game tool, etc. But this is free, so go enjoy it. Finally, Nintendo, Pokemon Company, showed off a nice 3-minute long special Pokemon trailer today. That's a special music video called Gotcha by Bump of Chicken. This was at the end of their presentation this morning, which was about 10 minutes long. You could look on my channel for that if you want to see my live reaction. But I thought I would end today's video game news segment, since it's kind of on the shorter side in terms of things that we're talking about, you know. One was a reflection back at Nintendo 64's anniversary, pretty much. Mortal Kombat talk, jump rope talk, and that's kind of it. So I thought I would include some of that presentation from this morning right here. So let's watch it together, okay? Excuse me. This has some good nostalgia going on in it. You know, Pokemon has been around for a couple of decades. A lot of people know it for its whole life, such as myself, reading magazines and looking at this manga coming out of Japan. Maybe you were first introduced to it when the show hit US airwaves. Maybe you played it for the first time as Pokemon Blue or Red on Game Boy, giving the Game Boy this massive resurgence. Maybe you came in the 2000s during a Gold and Silver era, or Diamond and Pearl, Black and White. You know, whether you came in at Game Boy Advance or DS or 3DS, or you're playing for the first time on Nintendo Switch with Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, or you saw the Mewtwo movie, you know, different eras. It's crazy because this is a franchise that, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that, like Power Rangers, still holds relevance to this day. Now, unlike Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, this started off pretty much at the same time as an anime and game boom, with this simultaneous release that became a global phenomenon and then has spread out, and in some ways is just as big or close to being as big in 2020 as it was, you know, way back in 1996, 1998. No game has managed to sell as well in the last couple of decades as the original combination of red, blue, green, and yellow, if you want to throw that in there. But Sword and Shield are close. You know, they're in the top few of paired generation games in terms of them being the best-selling pair in a long time. There are some other ones that take place, you know, after that red, blue, green, yellow, you know, pair of four that occupy number 2, number 3 before we get to Sword and Shield. But the fact that this game now on Nintendo Switch is still yet to turn a year old and has already passed up so many of these other entries is pretty awesome. I know I spoke a lot during that video, but you got to see it. Hopefully you got to hear most of it. It was sung in Japanese, so unless if you understand Japanese, hopefully my speaking wasn't a distraction to allowing you to understand it properly. But nice little 3-minute video. Pretty cool to see. And there you have it. Yeah. That does it today for Video Game News with Paul Gale Network. I hope you had fun watching. I enjoy branching out and talking more than just news talk, which is sometimes why I have a designated video game just talk session, right? Instead of news, just a talk session, kind of open-ended, where I could deep dive into something for 40 minutes. I didn't know if I would have today's Nintendo 64 talk as its own video game news segment, or as its own video game talk segment, or incorporate it into news. I decided to incorporate it into news, since it was just, several minutes of talk that I wanted to break down, and not 30-40 minutes. So hopefully that was just enough for you to keep interested and able to move on with the rest of news. Okay, thanks for watching. PGN signing out. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow for more video game news. Bye.